Deadlock Fight Night North America rolls along here, presented by Intel, where the Larp Lords take down BNB. It will not be the rematch that was promised here. I'm ZP here with DDK and Dan. Expectations were just defied.
They were. They certainly were. And it's crazy, DP, because this is number 19. This is the teenage era almost over for DFN. We're about to mature.
Yeah. That's right. 20 shows coming up, the 20th anniversary. Time flies by fast. But you know who's been here with us since the beginning, playing in a whole lot of them for TF2 Boomers, that, spur of the moment, impromptu guest. We got Deathy joining us here for this segment. And, Deathy, it's been a while, but the gameplay has just evolved more and more as time has gone on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of things from NA. And it's really interesting to see both perspectives of EU and NA, who's right, who's not. I mean, I have a lot of discussions with people from both regions, and, a bit of a surprising win for Larp Lords tonight. I mean, I think most people would have agreed BNB the favorites because, they've been together longer, they've won Fight Night in the past, and on top of that, Larp Lords has had little practice, but, they pulled through.
Well, we're going to skip ahead right to the rosters here, Dan, as you make your next point, but... yeah, rosters coming up here, Hydra Nation. In fact, I'll flip it back here because we got Deathy on as a guest. Deathy, the new Hydra Nation roster where, it's no longer Young Calc, it's just Calculator, but, they shifted rosters a lot. Well, historically in both, especially in the last month. What do you think of the new Hydra Nation roster, like relative to what it was in the past?
Yeah, so I think initially, at least, losing Quig was definitely a big blow to them. Quig is like a really good support player, like probably one of the best, and on top of that, he had a big role in calling, as far as I'm aware. They seem to have definitely they had a little bit of a rough patch, I would say. Didn't last too long, but they were losing more than they had lost usually, especially since they've been on a huge win streak. But they seem to really have found their stride, and I've scrimmed all of these teams, and right now I think that Hydronation is definitely the favorites for tonight. I wouldn't be surprised to see a fairly swift 2-0. They look really, really good, and I think the meta is also really good for them. Not to take anything away from them, they're extremely solid, but I think right now we're in a very lane-centric, tempo-based meta in the early game, and Hydronation is really, really good at laning, so definitely favors them.
Yeah, we were seeing that last week with they kind of figured out, we can have Hydration and Leffer playing on the same lane. That's kind of a hack. So that seems to be a pretty huge edge in terms of the mechanics and just sort of the team play. Obviously, is great, but with Hydronation, what do you think is the thing that separates Hydronation at the moment from the other teams in the region in terms of, because there's definitely a gap. What do you kind of point at?
Yeah, so I think the gap is, so for me, it's most teams right now in NA tend to have at least one or a few exploitable areas that's everybody kind of knows oh yeah, that team's weakness is this, right? So I'm not going to go ahead and say what I think every team's weakness is, but generally when I think of most teams, I think of BNB, melee creeps, etc. I'll say yeah, I think that team has something that's a bit more exploitable about them, whether it's draft, whether it's one of their players has a weaker hero pool. For example, Larp Lords, they let Pocket through in the draft, but Du is fairly new to the competitive scene, and he has a limited hero pool as far as everybody knows. And so that would be something that Hydronation can target focus, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them target focus that. So they are not easy to exploit, and they're very good at exploiting other teams' weaknesses, and their execution is definitely the best right now in terms of ability usage, laning, team fights.
Well, that is a great lead-in because our draft is ready to go, and it does kind of bring up the point I was going to bring up to begin with, is that Pocket on the day, Deathy, right now, is 6-0 on top of the idea that's one of Du's favorite heroes. So if you're Hydra Nation and you didn't come into the day at all, even playing the play Pocket, you got to think you are screaming from the top of your lungs, get it out of here. Ban it first.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Hydra Nation, you've got two plays. One play is you ban it first, or the second play is you hope, you kind of play the mind game of hey, Pocket might not be a top 3 hero in NA. It's usually not considered top 3 in NA. In EU, they do. And so you could play the gamble and try to ban it second phase. If I'm Hydra Nation and I see what I just saw, I probably just get it out, ban it first. I believe Hydra Nation is also first pick here, right?
Their second pick from the looks of it. Production baited us at the beginning. So they have second pick. So they can't pick it themselves. They would have to ban it here. And instead, they decide to ban the Mirage. Give this to Dan for a second.
Well, the question is if Larp Lords have the presence of mind to secure the Pocket pick in anticipation of all of the things that you guys just said. And so one extra question I have to ask you, Deathy, as well is one thing that we always talk about in terms of the draft against Hydronation is what do you ban? Do you try to target anyone? Can you target anyone? What's the philosophy that makes sense because they have such a deep hero pool?
Today isn't
so if you want to target people on Hydra Nation, you have two options really, which is Flick or Calc. Anybody else on that team is not really targetable. Their hero pools are way too big. So Flick or Calc if you want to target people. Paradox is definitely like a target ban towards Flick. Flick's best heroes are, Holiday, Paradox, Lash, and like Abrams to an extent. Lash right now is really not meta, and so that leaves Paradox and Holiday. So if you pick or ban those, he's usually kind of forced onto Abrams where he looks less comfortable, so that can definitely be a strategy. And we'll see the Mo coming out for Hydra Nation.
Yeah, and I mean, this makes sense. You think back to last week, Hydra Nation won every single map with Mo and Krill. Mo and Krill in general has looked good today. Larp Lords themselves literally just used it to great effect. So, I think the valuation of Mo being high for some NA teams, even given what we saw in EU, to me, it seems accurate right now. And also, Deathy, I do want to remind you, as you're here as a guest, you're as a guest and Jason isn't here. Like, you got unlimited free shots at Jason, and he quite literally cannot respond. He is sleeping in Italy right now. So you don't have to take the shot now, but you got the option.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if any opportunity comes up, but Mo and Curl Calico is a very standard opening for NA drafts, I'd say. Like in scrims, I've seen this opening a lot. I will say that I don't personally love the opening into Vindicta, because you're picking two heroes that don't like playing into Vindicta right into the Vindicta. So personally, I think it might be something that we see fade with time. But right now, it's mostly just like, hey, these are really strong laners. They're good frontliners. This is mostly what's valued. And then we responded with the Abrams, which, is good against the Mo and Curl, both in lane and also like cancel out of the ultimate. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Pocket come out third here if you don't want to risk it getting banned, especially after Dew's performance. Holiday. So they don't really care if it gets banned, probably.
I think what had to come there is that you think about teams generally where they do like playing, one playmaker, oftentimes either Holiday or Paradox. Like they're basically, teams really like having one or the other. I think the impetus had to be here is that if they let it go, it would either be picked by Hydronation or banned. And given that they already banned Paradox, it doesn't leave them with another option there unless they want to go something like Lash, where, as you mentioned, Deathy, not necessarily the highest value pick for that role right now.
Yeah. Well, I think also like it's clearly like, I said you could target Flick. Right now you've banned one of Flick's hero and you've picked two. So you've picked Abrams and Holiday. The Paradox is gone. So realistically, out of Flick's hero pool, you're kind of limiting him a lot. I haven't seen him play a lot of other heroes in scrims. It's possible that they just throw him on the Mo or they throw him another hero that he has a little bit less like comfort on. But right now, Flick is definitely a little bit thrown off his comfort.
And there's that pocket ban that we were expecting. So in terms of like the Talon value, I've seen that go up a lot as well. Deathy, what's your feeling like Talon's place in the game at the moment? Because he's being prioritized pretty heavily. We saw in EU, like very high priority there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think EU and NA agree on a couple things. One of these things is that flyers are just like extremely annoying to deal with, both Talon and Vin. In EU, we saw Vindicta being banned like every single game, I think, or most games. In NA, it's very similar. I'm kind of surprised by the Lash ban here, but Talon is basically a flyer that is good against Vindicta, so it makes sense to pick it against Vin, and it's just a ton of damage output, really strong laning stage, and it's just kind of annoying to counter. Like, you have to consider it with every hero. Like, picking heroes, for example, like Calico into Talon doesn't feel that good. And the Shiv.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing to me is that NA is flip-flopped on this, where NA goes from periods of, we must early pick Kelvin into, we'll get Kelvin later on the draft. And clearly right now, we're in a phase of we will pick Kelvin later. But at this point, you look at team matchups, I feel like if you're Larp Lords, you got the Abrams, the other side has Mo. I kind of feel like you would want to get the Kelvin here in the next two picks if possible. To me, it seems to make sense. And they get the Yamato, especially with the Yamato.
Well,
yeah, I mean, Yamato here like makes sense. It's always a strong pick. I do think that it's one of the few heroes do plays, so you don't want him to be picked out. Like, I think Pocket and Yamato are by far his best heroes. That's what I've seen him play in matchmaking. So if you don't pick that, you might be afraid, that he gets picked out. And also, I mean, it just gives you a strong fight. They don't have any shred on the enemy team for your ultimate as well. Right? They don't have Mirage, they don't have Seven, they don't have Vindicta.
Oh,
Wraith. Okay, that's interesting.
I was expecting a Kelvin. We haven't seen Wraith in like a long time for EU or NA, actually. Wraith,
I was expecting like a Geist or an Infernus, to be honest, on the side of Larp Lords, but Wraith is surprising. You don't see it really being picked too much because of the laning stage. Laning stage is so important right now, and Wraith's laning stage is kind of weak. And so she's fallen off of favor a little bit, but she's still a strong hero if you make it past. If you make it to the mid game, you get to farm like she's very strong.
So Infernus is a hero I feel like has like the value's kind of gone up and down, like theoretically, and I don't know in practice like where it falls sometimes. We saw in EU get played, and it was played with a more like an afterburn build. We saw Tesla bullets coming into play. Like, what's your sense of Infernus right now and where he fits?
It looks like most people are playing him with the 1 build. So like you max Catalyst. I think you max Catalyst and the Tesla bullets. I mean, look, we're not going to talk about that on stream. There's mixed opinions. It's splits the community, you know.
Zergy, I just want you to be aware. Like, Zergy is listening, even though I think Zergy stopped streaming a little bit ago. Like, he is aware. He has like spies out there. He's paid off a few people in production. Like, he will know. It will get back to him. So you really.
I mean, I personally don't believe in the Tesla Infernus, but like it can't be that bad, and you have damage amp on your 1, so it's definitely playable if you play the game well. And then 7 and Sinclair. I mean, to me, the fact that you give Sinclair on 6 here is insane, especially since you're giving it into a 7, into a Mo and Krill ult. Like, there's a lot of value. The AoE bunny is like incredibly oppressive. I will say, like, the Sinclair 6-pick looks insanely valuable.
Well, let me ask you this, though, as you take a look at it. What do you think the mid lane is going to show up here? Because it seems like to Hydra Nation, they've kind of identified winning middle lane is the most important lane to win because of the options it gives you if you get early Guardian down and going in the jungle. And they've decided we're going to stack our 2 highest players in Hydration and Lefa there. So what do you think the lane setup here is going through middle? If we expect it to be the Hydration Lefa lane.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be Mo and Krill, Grey Talon mid, most likely, unless they want to do a mind game. So the thing when you have 2 flyers is that Grey Talon hard counters Vindicta in lane. And so one of the teams, it's very likely they'll try to mind game because you don't want to go against the Vindicta in lane. You can always try to lane swap, but it's a little finicky on the new map. The rotation times are a little bit higher. So I think if you're the Grey Talon, like it would make sense to go mid, but at the same time, if you expect the Vindicta to go in the side lane, you might be like, okay, let's send the Talon to a side lane. So it's going to depend a little bit on the mind game from that.
Nice. Well, I'll have to ask you about Shiv too, because this is like a pick that has gone up and down in value all across the place, but right now it seems to be valued a bit more highly. And it used to be that it was a case that, okay, people will value it if you can kind of lock in the Kelvin with it, so you can have some more support with it. But now it seems people are playing a lot more, regardless of there being, a synergy there. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a decent hero. I think that shotguns have a lot of value right now, also because of the shotgun bug. So for the people at home that don't know, right now shotguns ignore Guardian resistances. Who knows why? And so that actually changes a lot in the early game, because if you ever get an advantage in lane, you just have a shotgun hero shooting the Guardian. It dies like so much faster than any other hero. So heroes like Shiv, Pocket, Mo and Krill, Calico, all these heroes like Abrams benefit from that. And so that definitely makes their like early game value way higher. But Shiv is still good for the execute against high HP heroes.
Well, we are ready to get in the game. So Deathy, thank you so much for joining us for a quick little guest analyst segment. For those who are watching, hey, you want to help out both streams? If you're watching us here at Deadlock Fight Night, you can open up a separate tab to see what Deathy is doing on the co-stream. If you're watching Deathy, you can do the same in reverse. Raises all boats and all that. But Deathy, thank you again for the insight. Pleasure to have you on. But Dan,
thank you guys.
We're getting ready. The game is about to be on, and we'll see just how the strategy unfolds here. Where it was interesting getting to the logic of some of the targeted picks and bans that were going out. Not getting to play the Pocket. The Respect ban comes in. However, it gets to play the Yamato instead. But watching the middle lane in particular here, how Hydration and Lefa roll out, to me, going to be very interesting because that is how Hydra Nation has set the tone, especially with the Mo and Krill.
That had to be an adjustment.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see where Flick lands because of all of the targeted bans, as Deathy was describing, the hero pool, and then just seeing them sequentially get taken away either through bans or picks themselves was interesting. Inclusive of maybe the last ban, which is maybe just really saying we do not want you to have something that you can play that's initiation based. But we are seeing we also heard the analysis with the Flyers, so we are going to get a situation where Grey Talon is not matched up with the Vindicta. So a check there as well.
The interesting part here too is that you think about who is this right? Where I would have thought Hydration would be on the Mo, instead it's Hydration Infernus coming on in right now. It's unexpected.
Wait, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Yeah, Hydration, Infernus, Flick on the Mo. I mean, yeah, as Defi mentioned, Flick's hero pool did take some critical damage, but that's a little wild in terms of versatility. But we'll see how this one pans out, though.
Maybe Hydration just like interviewed Leffa for an hour. It's like, okay, how do I play this? Okay, cool, that's how it works. All right, we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But either way, I'm really excited to see Dew on the Yamato. That's a good bit of extra information, as you know, it's not a player we've seen as much. Just to, you know, again, also hear from Defi that, you know, in lieu of the pocket, get him on the Yamato. Plus, just Yamato being a really strong pick, and obviously not having it in the hands of Hydronation is definitely good, considering they locked in that moat early on. But in terms of the early lane dynamics here, obviously it's very early, and I feel like both teams are giving each other quite a lot of respect. Sometimes you see a lot of brawling already, but now that I say that, production does switch to the 100 HP talent.
I mean, it's gone both ways. DMB's also gotten chunked down pretty hard in the middle also, and it is a questionable thing where you consider Wraith's trouble in the early lane phase relative to more powerful characters, and trusting your middle lane to Wraith is a bold decision. I mean, so far, it's been working out okay in terms of poke back and forth, but you know, I do wonder how that is going to pan out as the game evolves a little bit more past the early phase.
And, you know, speaking of the Wraith too, one of the things we didn't mention in the draft that is really awesome for that Wraith pick that we were talking about in the EU drafts was the fact that the Wraith telekinesis is a great counter to the Storm Cloud. And given how impactful the Storm Cloud actually is, keeping that on board just as a direct counter for the Storm Cloud is going to be a really nice way to mitigate the zoning value that it has in some of these team fights. So another reason why the Wraith pick is kind of nice.
Well, things quiet here so far. A little bit of counterfire from the Wraith on over into the Talon. Bo coming in there to say, go no further than what you're going. Meanwhile, though, Leffa going down, Dew trading out there. Not the easiest feat, though, to even trade out against Leffa early on in lane, so not too shabby. Also, one thing we didn't even really bring up is that even though it's not in middle, it's still the Hydration Leffa lane. So you talk about like lanes you expect to be strong, or, you know, putting a lot of eggs in the one basket. It's Hydronation betting a lot on the left lane right now, Dan.
That's a great point. Yeah, I think rightfully so. There should be a lot of focus on that lane. And that trade, I don't know that it favors either team, given that you weren't seeing the wave being, I think it was like just under the stairs. So I don't think any wave was lost for either player in that death, in that exchange. Ooh, it's a good power shot coming in from the side. Charge shot, power shot, whatever the hell this thing is called. I always mix it up.
It's a charge shot. Yeah. It's very powerful, but you know, it's powerful because it's charged. Is I think the order of operations there. Also, speaking of order operations, Hydronation is deep on every lane right now. You look at the left lane, you are forcing Dew back, like Dew and Naked having to play from a further back position. You're looking at middle lane, much the same. Things relatively even off on right, but hey, I'm curious what's going on left lane here, because Dew down the half HP.
Getting a lot of heal though. And looking fairly healthy again. Hydration though, a little worse for wear, down to 50%. Just kind of battle raging on Leffa on the Calico. Take some extra Vexing Bolt damage. The Vexing Bolt's really strong in lane. If you're adept with that, you can kind of send it into the sky and drop it down. I first learned that from a Deathy video, actually, when the character came out.
There you go, just a little bit of extra. But yeah. One thing that's also interesting to me is that there was a period of time where Hydration was learning more on the Calico, and obviously we saw Leffa play the Calico quite well last week. But you'd think if you had to put both in the lane and you had to do adjustments for hero pool stuff, that it'd be Leffa on the Infernus and then Hydration the Calico. But, you know, in this case, they decided, you know what? Better fit to still keep Leffa on the Calico, despite the history with Infernus.
Shift on the bridge.
So yeah, a lot of stakes really. I feel like on this left lane. I'm like, even if we're not looking on a cam, I'm looking at it on the mini map, and here we go. Lost, rather Strato transformation going down. Again, the hex is so nice. It comes in at the perfect moment there, and it does feel like it honestly feels like Larp Lords are really winning this left lane so far. I mean, is your estimation the same, CP?
I think it's reasonably close on the left here between the two.
They're winning.
They're winning. No. I didn't hear no bell. It's not. Right now, it's close, and also, I do think there's a window of opportunity here with Shadow Transformation down from the go-in, and in fact, they know it. They're going to take the opportunity, return the Shadow being used. Here comes the custom combustion from downtown, straight down Broadway. Down goes Dew, and yes, Dan, now they're winning.
Yeah, great conversion. Obviously, that is not a good sign for Larp Lords. And actually, off the rope, we're going to get a quick play out of Lord and M. He's going to get straight in there, but he doesn't have help just yet. Okay, G's going to get in there now. That was a little scary, honestly. I'm like, hey, do you know what you're running into here? With that said,
Also,
obviously, the mid tower was just lost also. Let's not forget. So Hydronation can start getting
Look at the
these ganks,
rotation.
and that's what's happening.
Yeah, Flick is coming in for the rotation. They've moved Holiday over, but Mo says, I want a part of that. The fists are ready. And they go, Lord and M, you're out of your lane. Get back over where you've been this entire time. However, Holiday, still slippery, able to get out, but severely wounded in the attempt. 3-on-3 right now in left. Middle being held down. Wraith versus Talon. Right lane, still all calm, but the left lane pressure being held here. The combo is down. Lord and M just taking serious poke damage and can't get away. Hydration finishes off from the side, and now it's just turning into a full-on melee as the middle gets pulled to take down Leffa. DMB off on the rotation.
Yeah, more players spending their time here on this left lane as well to fight these players back. I actually found that initial combo kill, I was like so shocked that didn't result in a kill. Was it like a locket, like burst of heal that happened to prevent that? Locket's pretty nice, if that's really what happened. Now, oh, big damage here off of the storm cloud here. There's telekinesis. That's exactly what we're talking about. Slamming the 7 down to the ground. Hello, can we kill this person? Yes. Hurricane goes down after all, and Scout is going to be one to get that kill, and he is in so much trouble here.
And that was no telekinesis. That was just seismic slam, bringing him down to the ground. Wraith, maybe the spirit of telekinesis, but that was just pure on Abrams slam in action. Not afraid of the storm, which is kind of a different from Scout in the previous game where it was the escape maneuver. In this case, the storm queller. Dew, though, going down on the left end. This is going to be the problem for Dew, I think, as the game evolves, is that Flick, when looking for combo targets, Yamato, the most valuable of all, in a lot of cases, just to keep Dew in a bad spot. So I don't think that's going to be the first combo we see come at Dew's expense.
I gotta say, what is this rebrand? Young Calc to Calculator? Can someone explain?
I think there's a reason for it. I'm not sure what the reason is, but he's refined. Maybe he doesn't feel he's very young anymore. Does have a competitive history going back to old school Fortnite. I don't know, man. It's the more professional name. That's all I know.
Yeah, but it's worse though.
Well, you can,
I don't know. I just feel like I have this emotional investment in Young Calc. I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave my opinions out of this. We've got a lot of pressure on this right side. 3 players here right now for Hydra Nation, able to convert onto Sizz, and that should be a Guardian potentially as well for the follow-up. And right now, Wraith's in trouble. DMB is kind of caught out there as well. It will get taken out on top of the Guardian, so we're starting to see a big advantage, a swing now in favor of Hydra Nation. They've got 3 towers. They have 3 towers to the good. Larp Lords with nothing in that sense at the moment. I mean, obviously, if they do manage to pick up some towers, they're going to be able to equalize the soul differential. But in the time in which they are not doing that, that's an advantage Hydra Nation can continue to leverage.
Yeah, also, I think the thing that's a little bit troublesome right now, if you're looking at the game plan for Larp Lords, is look at the overall objective situation. You're down 3 Guardians at the moment. You have lost full control of your jungle. You've lost a safe place to go to. The parry from Hydration says no buff for you. Force out the Shadow Transformation. And I don't know if Dew is actually going to live here. I think the chase down is going to be coming. Instead, Abrams goes for the save, gets comboed by Mo, and Hydration is a little bit off to actually punish right away. So things take a turn and then some. Back over here, though, onto the left. Shiv, under pressure. Calc gonna go up and over. Scout, meanwhile, getting punished. And Hydra Nation making the most of things here. Al coming on over, hitting Lord NM, and Lord NM might be getting chased by Hydration. It is.
Well, Hydra Nation still looking to take command of the whole map here, it seems, with a decent chunk of map control because of all those towers taking down all that extra map control. A lot of jungle available too, and now the Urn is going to get ferried across the map. So a lot of options here in terms of converting on more value, I'd say, for Hydra Nation. Will there be an intercept right now? We've got 5 players actually on the right side of the map here for Larp Lords, so an intercept is on the cards. But they maybe need to create some space here on this right side lane. I don't know that they can do it, though. There's 3 players there already. They're going to give it, it seems like, ZP.
Yeah, no one had any real intention of going for that there. I think part of that, you had Calc pushed pretty far forward. I don't think they had full vision. Instead, right at the Guardian, a little bit of pummeling here on the Scout. Vindicta, though, coming for the backup. Not quite in assassinate range yet is Flick. Flick, a little bit behind lines here for a second. Says, you know what, we're going to chase down Vindicta instead. Gets a kill on the Sizz, and this feels like, Dan, it's the beginning of what could be the end as the league continues to build.
Don't give up.
Well, Lasso here on the Calc. Calc taking absolute beating, and all right, 2 kills on the outside.
Calc wins those.
Here's what worries me, though, Dan, is that even with a few pickoffs by Larp Lords, the trend of the game, especially when we look at objectives, is not good. Hydra Nation is able to easily go into the jungle, pick things off. I feel like the window for Larp Lords to make things happen is actually quite small right now. Like, on paper, it looks close, but okay, if left foot feeds like that, you know, we'll see where it goes. Hydration, though, in off the rotation, even things out. See Mo right now. 5 seconds till combo. Waiting. Gets hit by the concussive combustion now. Combo good to go. Both teams throwing everything here into the left lane. Larp Lords tries to make some hand. DMB able to finish off Hydration. Storm Cloud in on the top for Arcane, though, is going to quiet it down and then some. That's a triple for 7, Dan.
Ooh, what a Storm Cloud. Really well timed for that one. And that could be potential. This is crazy. A Walker, potentially around 13 minutes. There's going to be a defense mounted here. Oh, straight in off the top rope. Acrobatics from Lord and M with the barrels. The kegs getting tossed in. Look at those balls, though. Covering. Okay. So Lord and M falling back onto the Walker. It looks like they'll be able to keep it up for now. 2 players there on the defense, so that's going to work out nicely. The mid Walker's actually quite low as well. This is a problem that they can't get to the first tier of objectives, Larp Lords, because it's just too much pressure. They don't have enough map control, and if they try to venture out, they're so ripe to get ganked. So this is a true conundrum.
That's the key problem that you're dealing with now. As you look at the map, every lane is pushed up yellow. Larp Lords on the blue side, they are pushed back at Walker in almost every lane, and it's leading to opportunities where they're losing parts of their jungle in turn. They're not able to get their flex slots online, and unless they can get a pickoff that actually leads to a tempo change on the map, it's gonna be tough. And Abrams is about to die, I think. Scout getting hard focused right now. Other side of the map, charge shot from Rocker and dead. And stuff like this is what Hydra Nation uses to keep lanes pushed up, to get Walker pressure, and at the same time prevent Larp Lords from even getting a Guardian right now.
There is only a 7k differential in the souls. So, and this is largely because Hydra Nation they're just pushing, and they're so active. We're not seeing as much jungling or you know, them sort of claiming a lot of the souls that they have sort of won via the map controls, like a potential that they can realize only if they go back and start, you know, killing those creeps, which they are likely to start doing right now. I think we're starting to see it. So the question is what Larp Lords can do to, in this moment of reprieve, are they able to actually push onto an objective whilst Hydra Nation's a little bit more split up? It's going to be very hard to do so, but they have players in the right place. They've got 3 on the right side lane. There is some attention coming that way, though. But they really need to get some towers online here. This map control problem is really pressing.
And again, the parry on top of the buff. Rocker doing what Hydration did earlier. The quick deny into the pickup of movement. Hydronation doing it team-wide. Meanwhile, taking a look at Lord NM running for his very life. The mole right on top of him. Drops the combo for good measure. And is his own fall through here, really. Gets hit with the lasso. Lord NM still alive. Bo going along for the ride. Goes for the parry. A desperation move. Still gonna fall.
All right, well, disengage here for DMB. At least they kill Calc, I suppose, but okay, I mean, just look how easy it is right now for Hydronation. They can pick up this urn, just run it all the way across the map. big pressure on the mid Walker as well. So this own is going to just be, I think, turned in completely unnoticed. There's too many other priorities on the map right now. Oh my goodness, another Walker going down. Oh, well, that's the first Walker, but still. A mid Walker going down and gets collected at the same time. And now we're starting to see that soul lead start to expand.
And it always happens this way, right? Like the precursor, even when the game is close on souls, when you see the early Guardians go down, you know that this is going to be the net outcome just because of the tactical advantages you get with that level of control over the map. Also, Mo is going in for another victim right now on the left lane. Lord NM in real danger. The combo out once again. Lord NM's just like, I'm getting deja vu. This just happened about a minute ago, and Flick drops the question mark. Oh, it's getting real right now, Dan.
Yo. How dare you be questioning. Oh, big stomp from the Walker. The fight there taking place. Larp Lords trying to defend as best as they can, but again, there's so much damage output coming out here, and you've got Hydration just up top. There's the Warps going in to try to finish off these players, get that extra burn damage out on the Walker. Oh my god, Hydration's going to get absolutely trampled. And Sis gets the kill there, but the Walker's still going to go down to that burn damage. And at the same time, we've got a lot of pressure on the right side of the map. Hydra Nation putting on all of the pressure at the moment. Scout getting taken down again. So much damage out from Rocker right now.
And Hydra Nation does sacrifice a few people for the Walker, but look, you absolutely take that. You're very happy to get the extra flex slot. You've now taken down all Walkers for Larp Lords. Larp Lords, by the way, is approaching 20 minutes and 100k souls and still no flex slot. This is absolutely miserable for your item builds and what you're able to build towards in the game. It is not good in the least. And yeah, it really puts things in perspective of where the game is right now. And, you know, you look at income allocation too. You know, at one point DMB was way ahead of Do, which probably wasn't ideal of the two that you'd want to be getting farmed, but now they're even. No one is particularly high up, and you're having to deal with Rocker, who is fed beyond belief with Rocane on the other side. And to top it all off, you know, we praised Scout in the last game for, you know, being an Abrams. It's often like at least average with the game. This is poverty Abrams right now. He's literally in a basement farming for scraps, is where we're at.
Yeah. It's a sad story.
He's broken lore too, so I mean, it is a lore accurate game, if nothing else.
I see, Shiv.
Or you could eat the book or something like that.
You know, I think he would if he could. It's just kind of like he's stuck with them. It may be indestructible.
But that sucks, man. Well, Larp Lords, their jungle's being invaded yet again. It's just so hard to. It's such a big problem when, again, they just lost so much map control and they could never get out safely on the map. Even though the soul differential wasn't that big, the feeling of how unsafe the map was pretty astounding.
I'll say, look at the quick rotation. As soon as they bring two people in the 2 versus 1 on left, immediately Hydration stops what he's doing, moves over to the left. The combo comes in again, and DMB is just destroyed. It has been a Mo and Krill masterclass, and look, based on what we saw last week versus BNB, given what we're seeing right now versus Larp Lords, you must stop the Mo and Krill pick. You cannot give Hydra Nation Mo and Krill. They've been way too effective with it in the most recent sample size, Dan.
It's just a great pick. The details also that he added with regards to like the shotgun damage and as well, I'm sure that's also part of the extra emphasis that we've been seeing from Mo in addition to everything else that you mentioned.
I see, Yamato.
Such a good pick for sure. It just feels like it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'd say interest in terms of picks that have gone up in value. You know, Talon being more highly valued. I feel like if they gave Talon like a cooler model, you would still get picked more on top of it, even with all pro gamer logic applied. Like, he's gonna pick this much while, you know, Emily style. But here we go. Next fight. Take a look at Mo and Krill right now. Flick on the hunt. Was looking for DMB. Doesn't have it here just yet. Concussive concussion in Hydration. Absolutely no chill. Dives in. Now Mo off on the other side. Sinclair looking to be his target. No combo needed. Just taken on down by Rocker. And now with 2 picks, this feels like it's going to be an earn mid-boss combo here, Dan.
Yeah, just running the entire map at the moment. And again, Larp Lords just can't get out on the map.
Dan, at the risk of being redundant here and just repeating myself over and over again, it's 21 minutes in, and Larp Lords does not have a flex slot.
Oof.
This is brutal.
There was one game we cost, I think it was maybe last week or the week before, where I think the game wasn't the game one where no Guardians went down for one team.
I believe that is accurate. Also, there's one of the games where I think all three of the games, like B&B didn't even do damage to Hydra Nation's walkers last week.
Oh yeah. Yep. In this three lane format especially, it's very hard to, again, if you just totally lose map control, it's very hard. And just look at the advantages now that Hydra Nation have. They've got so many options as to what they could do. They could decide to play like really safe and just clean up the rest of the map if they wanted to, or they could try to like take down some of these base guardians. At this point, obviously with 2 players down, they've got all the freedom in the world to do any of the above, but obviously they've got 2 minutes of rejuve, so they can do a little bit of farming, and then, you know, maybe with the last like 40 seconds, you know, try to facilitate a team fight.
I think the problem here, as you look into, is that what are the win conditions for Larp Lords and coming back here? They are very, very limited. Ideally, you somehow end up in a world where, you know, the player we're looking at right now, gets multiple kills and gets ahead of the curve. But it's a 22k Yamato, and the top of the curve is a 32k monster Talon, backed up by 27k 7. It's a long way to go to get to a point where Yamato can just run at either of those two heroes and have it go well. But okay, you decide, let's take down the monster Talon in multiple ways. You drop the lasso, you drop the anvil, you bring him into Timbuktu, and then you finish him off. How many times can you do that? But hey, look, that good start.
Yep, there's something at least. But yeah, these base guardians are getting a challenge, getting taken down. And there's a dive as well. Straight on in to get these finishing kills, and oh, that's going to convert into shrines for sure. This is exactly what they were looking for. Still, you know, a good amount of rejuve left to keep this base assault going. And I would be surprised if they leave without the patron, and we're going to get that damage straight into the fountain as well. Oh my god, look at the target fire. This is getting something, but he's actually dying right now. So Red Cane's going to eat shit out of that. Okay, let's get those shrines. We get the patron.
Do they stay? I mean, they're up 50,000 right now. They could just stay and end the game. They're about to have combo back up. And also, this kind of goes to the show, like, the problems you have when you run this far behind is that you got in your perfect, like, pull and setup combo on the rocker. It doesn't matter. You're still so weak team-wise that once those cooldowns are down, you can't actually kill anyone. And Hydra Nation does decide to back out, but it's probably just going to be a quick shot because 50k ahead at this point. To an extent, they can just walk at Larp Lords.
True. Yeah. What do you look at when you're reviewing the VOD here? You know, it's like...
Well, I think first you start with the draft, and you wonder, how did you let them get Mo with, like, how Hydronation has looked on the Mo so far? I think in terms of picks, that's probably number one. And you think about what they valued here. Vindicta is good, but I feel like we've seen games get ripped away a lot more, at least at this little play, EU and NA, like way more by heroes like Mo than we have seen by Vindicta in recent times. So I just wonder about some of the priority and how you comped here, because to me, beyond just like mechanical play where Hydronation has, you know, played very well, I don't like the draft. I also, you know, not necessarily in love with the Wraith where it is right now. I never thought I'd be saying those things, but it's been rough times for Wraith, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the pick for sure, like in theory, but it's obviously with Hydronation, you're gonna get caught out if you're lacking in any fundamentals. They'll just slowly take edges away from you. So that's kind of partly, I think, what happened here. Obviously, it's a lot more to it than that, but that's one of the issues when you're playing the team that's like very, very well organized and very skilled, has excellent fundamentals. They don't have to do anything special. They just punish you when you make mistakes. And there it is, map 1 of this best of 3 here. This is a money match between Hydra Nation and Larp Lords for DFN 19, presented by Intel. And the Hydra Nation, I don't know. I wonder if there'll be any adjustments for Larp Lords. They went really heavy trying to ban out Flick. He just gets to play the Moan. It doesn't really seem to matter CP. So maybe there's a different strategy for this next draft.
I think we will see a different strategy. Whether that strategy will be effective or not is another thing entirely. But the reality is you cannot go back in with the same exact draft, because I do think this is a game that was lost as much on some of the mechanical plays as it was also on the draft strategy, where we just hit a point in the game where Hydra Nation was able to apply pressure to every single lane. And as soon as we saw Larp Lords try and push down a lane, well, they had a mole heading for them right away. It was usually you were seeing Mo rotate, you were seeing Hydration rotate, and the entire goal was pretty simple. It was keep lane control at all costs, keep Larp Lords off of getting their flex slot for as long as possible. And it just hit a point where Larp Lords was basically prisoners back in their own base, Dan.
Yeah, it really was very concerning to see that they couldn't really walk out onto the map whatsoever. As soon as they lost those initial Guardians, they like never were able to like go further out on the map at all. And that was a horrendous sign. I mean, it's something that we're seeing in Deadlock right now, is that teams are going to invade your jungle and you have to respond to that, or else you lose enormous value. I think in part due to the Sinner sacrifices and how important they are, but also how concentrated the jungles are, how much more value there's there now. It's a very easy way to get an advantage. So if you can't respond to that, you kind of get wrecked. And if you can't challenge those Guardians because you can't safely walk out on the map, you also can't have any option to take back map controls. And these are the two areas where I saw Larp Lords kind of getting murdered going into that mid game, where those dynamics start to become apparent.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not that Larp Lords didn't have options. Like, if some of the early fights had gone their way, I think it was a little bit of an underperformance Vindicta-wise. I mean, think about the, just the eye test, as it were. Maybe you call it the ear test for the thing here. How often did we talk about Slugfest this game on the Vindicta? Usually Vindicta, more mobile, getting kills back and forth. What wasn't quite the time that we saw Leffa on the Vindicta, just using the teleporter every 2 seconds to get kills. It was a quiet Vindicta game, and I think if you're gonna pick Vindicta and get use out of her, you have to be winning lane fights and being that force, especially from like the 9 to about 15-minute window. Didn't really happen in this case. And also, when you're running the 7-2, like, you use the Mo to like be aggressive, get people in there, go in the jungle, and then Rokane was one reaping a lot of their rewards. Rokane and Hydration just eating the jungle right after at warp speed. So, one thing kind of led into another, and before you know it, it's Larp Lords down 50k going, we just have no viable path into this game. And sometimes this is how it goes in Deadlock.
Absolutely. We can see the stat sheet here as well, so we can kind of see if, it'll match the eye test. And, Rocket on the top damage there with the great talent, not unexpected at all from everything that we saw. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here that's really unexpected. I think, if you would have put, obviously, like Leffa on the Infernus, you probably would have got more damage. But, like, honestly, I don't think that's even a conversation that's worth talking about. So,
yeah, and regardless, it worked out in lane. But, yeah, Hydra Nation looking very, very strong after map 1. I think map 2, we're going to see some change-ups across the board. But also, and keep it the idea of... Again, a guest analyst in here, reaching out to the community and everything else. You'll want to tune in for the next segment because we got Vegas in as a guest analyst. It's going to be fun, especially with the history between Vegas and Hydra Nation. What will be said? Well, you're going to have to be here in about 6 minutes to find out. Deadlock Fight Night North America number 19, presented by Intel, rolls along. ZP here with DDK and Dan. Hydra Nation still looking pretty darn unstoppable after a week. We thought it would be Hydra Nation versus BNB. BNB gets upset by Larp Lords, who are looking really strong, and yet they run into a brick wall. And the new Hydra Nation, which so far looks to really have capitalized on their understanding of the 3-lane map.
Oh yeah, it seemed for a moment like this gap was being closed, the roster changes and stuff like that. But then Hydra Nation just immediately created it. They dropped a nuclear bomb, and now there's just a chasm. It feels like between them and other teams, at least what they're totally capable of. The roster's really great. It's hard to spot a weakness, and I think Deathy was kind of explained that pretty well. And right now, there's a lot to ask for Larp Lords. Based on that first map, they had no control after the early game, and there was no solution. So I hope at least that the draft can be a better start for them in this next map.
Well, also, you want to talk about things that, if you're feeling down, or you want, a pick me up, or you just want to look cool. We haven't talked about it all night, but we do got some merch here at Deadlock Fight Night. That's right. Our production's there. They're ready to hit the button, but all sorts of cool stuff there. If you want to get comfy, watch some Deadlock, and, wear an Earn shirt. Maybe Naked will show up and try and distract you too, based on the game we saw earlier today. Honestly, I'm not sure Naked can tell the difference, Dan.
True. Yeah, the problem is when I'm looking at the merch right now, those EPs, that all I'm thinking of is that design that Jacob wants to work on, which is the I'm balling with the goo ball. That's what I want now. I can't not want that since you said it.
Yeah, born to ball. But also, you're going, it's like, just 2 here. Some of our other casters today, had things going on towards the end. Real life happens, but we adapt, we improvise. We got some guest analysts here today. We had Deathy at the start of NA Finals. Now we're gonna bring in Vegas here for our second map of the NA Finals. And Vegas, good to have you on, man. Of course, you would have extra special insight in these teams, Hydra Nation in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to be here. Happy to watch these games.
What do you make of Hydra Nation being there being as big of a gap between them and the other teams right now?
Honestly, I think the gap we had where we're just dominating every game for so long and not having to change our playstyle and how we played some of our lanes and how we thought about the game, gave us honestly a massive disadvantage when this new meta came out, because we were just so far behind in terms of lane meta and understanding the atomization of playing difficult lane matchups and understanding how to play lanes. Honestly, the laning was the number one thing why these teams started beating us. And then after a couple weeks of practicing in lane and obviously roster changes throughout all of that, now Hydra Nation is a lane dominant team, and that was the biggest weakness a couple weeks ago, which is why I think they started losing a lot. And I think they've been putting an insane amount of effort into that, and now they're right back to the top form, right? I just think it was the map shift really changed the meta, and I think we were really misinformed in a lot of things. And they have a really talented roster, and I just really think I'm not surprised, I'd say.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too, because I think the most telling part that the old Hydra Nation was a little bit discombobulated in terms of how to play was we saw hydration poor in some of those first games on 3-lane. We've never seen hydration poor before. Usually in 4-lane, hydration was 10K ahead of the game in most games, and then we look here, it's oh my god, hydration's on Yamato, and wait, what is his soul count? Wait, it's 7K below the average of the game? What in the world is going on? But
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, they found some answers, to say the least. But also, we're out to find some answers on this draft. Second draft should be good to go. And, Vegas, from what we saw before, do you think we're going to see any changes from Larp Lords draft-wise, particularly when it comes to heroes like Mo?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I do think that Larp Lords, they tried to ban out Flick, it looked like last game. I would say, they don't really have a lot of experience as a team in scrims, and I think they should stick more this game to what they're comfortable on, especially going against a team with so much experience. Even if Hydra Nation is on some uncomfortable picks, per se, they're still going to be more comfortable than Larp Lords, so they need to play what they know how to win on, and I'd like to see them play Pocket here, but Hydra Nation probably knows that, and that's why we see a Pocket ban coming out, so they're always 2 steps ahead there.
It's kind of sad because Pocket was available, I think, until the second round of bans in the previous draft, and then they end up having to get the Yamato secured for Dio instead. So that's kind of sad. It might be the case that they still can have Yamato as an option though. So maybe the Mo pick makes sense if they get that opportunity, because that does pair so well with the Yamato at least.
Also, though, we got the change up here going, you know what? Rocker did a lot of damage on Grey Talon. maybe let's not give that up again. And yeah, Larp Lords also banned that earlier today here, Vegas. So I feel like NA is kind of shifting a little bit in like, what do you fear? And Talon pretty high up on the list, but I also feel like here, this probably almost certainly is gonna be the Mirage first pick from Hydra Nation, right?
Yeah, most likely. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Vindicta with Great Talon banned. I think that would be a strong pick, but Mirage is never a wrong answer.
I know you just want to see the Mo, ZP. I know you want to see the Mo first pick, but you have to come to terms with the fact that it's not going to happen, ZP.
Well, I want to see it from Larp Lords, no matter what. But I knew the Mirage would come in for Hydronation. I just feel like Mirage is like in this zone here, Vegas, where it doesn't matter what else is going on. Mirage just remains top first pick, top first ban for months and months now, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, Mirage and Vindicta, I think, are what, and they would absolutely rank undisputably the number 1 and 2 characters. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Larp Lords pick up Vindicta in the top 2. I think if they don't, it's probably a blunder. But I'm curious to see. They obviously did not have an easy game on it last game, so they might try to mix it up here.
What do you think is good to build around the Vindicta to actually make it like a good value pick? Because I think in isolation by itself, obviously, it's not going to be perhaps the best. You want to try to combine it with some other stuff. So I know that we like to see the Mo and Krill, but yeah, what do you think should be paired with the Vindicta, ideally?
Without a doubt, like putting Vindicta with something like Bebop or Mo and Krill seems to be just unbeatable, I'd say. Like pairing up a Vindicta and a Bebop, I just don't know. Like that would like Vindicta and Bebop like would make Mo look useless in mid lane. That's how strong that duo is. So definitely you want to pair that with somebody who can get the front line, get the souls while you just focus on harassing the enemy person. I'd also like to see Hydra Nation pick up something like a Paradox here for Flick. I think would be really strong. I'd like to see them pick that up here in the top 3.
I think if Paradox doesn't get picked by Hydra Nation, it doesn't come back around to them, because Larp Lords, you think about how they played the last one, right? They banned Paradox, picked Holiday. If they don't pick the Paradox or Holiday here, I think Larp Lords picks one, bans the other. So to that entire point, they're gonna grab the Paradox. But in turn here, if they wanted to, like Bebop, to your point you were making, could have been a target ban for Hydra Nation in the second go. So if you wanted to secure like a really, basically at least remove the possibility from Hydra Nation, you could go with Bebop. I lost my train of thought there a little bit, but I think your Larp Lords, you could probably also just ban it. So Hydra Nation doesn't have the option on the turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit concerned with Larp Lords draft here. I mean, giving up these top 3 heroes, if you were to ask Hydra Nation before this series, like, I don't even think they would have dreamed of getting these 3 heroes all on the same team. This is like unheard of, I think. I think they would absolutely be like, man, like we really want this Mirage, we really want a Vindicta. I just hope we can get one of those at the start of the game. And they've somehow ended up with those and Paradox, which is historically the strongest character for Hydra Nation. Like, I think they're very excited about this.
You'll be back.
Well, 7 ban coming in. Yeah, I don't know how consequential do you feel like this 7 ban actually is?
I think the 7 ban's kind of a blunder because they gave away the 2 largest forms of Shred in the game, and then they banned it when they had first Prio, which is like 7 should have been their pick they were looking for here. So banning that is a little bit, maybe it's a hero pool issue or they're scared of Rocane, but Rocane's hero pool won't be an issue. So I think that's a little bit of a blunder, but I'm curious to see what Hydra Nation.
Hope you're happy.
Holiday.
And this is kind of the reverse of what we saw last game, where Larp Lords, they secure the Holiday and then they ban the Paradox. Again, teams like running one of the 2. Now the same gets done to them, where it's like, well, we got Paradox and now we're gonna make sure you don't get Holiday in turn. Now I'm just thinking, is like, what is the absolute best hero Larp Lords could go with here?
Yamato, probably. Right?
Yeah, I think they have to go with Yamato, because based on what Hydra Nation picked, they would probably go for it in turn. Also,
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Deu's hero pool. If the idea is like Dew needs to play either Pocket or Yamato, like if Hydra Nation takes Yamato Vegas, it seems like that'd be quite bad for Larp Lords here.
I mean, this is honestly personal. I'm gonna be honest. This is Lord and them. They have picked young Calcs number 1, 2, 3, and 4 hero here. This is personal. This is last game they tried to target ban Flick. This game they said, you know what, Flick can play Mo. Let's just deal with that. Calc, we're coming for you. And they just picked. I have not seen Calc off of those 4 heroes perform well in a while. I think he's definitely. It might be Calc on Paradox or Mirage in this draft, which could be.
Wait, you've gotten shifted. No, you're right. They have taken away from Calc. Yeah,
they've taken away from most of
Calc
Calc's heroes. Yeah.
That's really interesting though, because I mean, you've got a really tanky lineup, but what do you pair with this? At this point, obviously you've got like no long range anything at the moment. You've just got like all these brawlers. People going to the. Okay, so you got a really ideal pick with that Vindicta, like you were saying.
I mean, brutal pick. Like, to give up the Vindicta, then pick the tankiest comp, this is just brutal. Like, I don't know how they're going to deal with these lanes as well. Like, they've got the Mirage, the Vindicta, and the Bebop pair. Like, these lanes are just going to be... I wouldn't be surprised if they wrap this up with, like, a Sinclair and a Wraith for Larp Lords side. That'd probably be my biggest... That's probably, like, the best thing they could do.
Ready to do some field
What?
Okay, I don't even
Oh, okay, I get it. You have Naked on your team, but what? Like, people that like are still McGinnis holdouts, they've been starving for a while. Like, McGinnis just is not getting played, and even McGinnis mains are like, no, we're not gonna pick this hero. And
No,
Vegas, here we are. McGinnis has been picked.
I mean, they're full sending it. Like, you gotta respect it. They are full sending it with this draft. This is really unorthodox all the way through.
I'm duty bound to fight.
Oh wow, they are okay. Are they trying to win the game in like 10 minutes or something? But like it's just running down the lane, all 6 players.
This
is incredible.
interesting.
We're witnessing history or something right now. I mean, they brought McGinnis out of like just out the vacation. I think we've seen McGinnis picked on DFN in like well over like 2 months or something. It feels like a long time.
I don't even know the last time I've scrimmed against the McGinnis at all. Like, honestly, I don't even know.
trick.
It's crazy.
And they get Sinclair last pick number 12. On top of the draft, we've got Mirage, Paradox, Vindicta. I mean, if you would,
I mean, if I was allowed to bet on these games, I'd go all in on Hydronation right here with this draft. I mean, this is just beautiful. I mean, it's crazy.
Vegas, what are the win conditions for Larp Lords comp? How do they have to play this to stand a chance?
Honestly, some of these characters they have are pretty unorthodox in this meta. Like, they just gotta they probably have to play super aggressive and catch Hydronation off guard against some of these off-meta heroes. They definitely haven't scrimmed against a lot of these lane pairs, like, for sure. So that might be the only advantage they have here is probably that Hydronation doesn't feel comfortable playing against those heroes entirely either. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try and send some of these brawly lanes to play super aggressive with shotguns to try and take early towers. That could be what they're looking for.
I think the other thing too is that if for whatever reason Hydronation beefs the early game, which admittedly is pretty difficult, the amount of early lane power that they have, if Larp Lords somehow gets ahead, like if there's a point in the game where they're like 10 or 15k ahead, Hydronation coming back against that with their comp versus that would be incredibly hard. Like it's
sense.
too much. Yeah, it's too many frontliners to actually effectively get up against. It's just you're probably gonna die to like 8 million different things. But the concept of Larp Lords getting like 10 to 15k ahead with this comp, with how the early lanes are gonna go down Vegas, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like the Doctor Strange, like one chance. You know?
Like, if honestly, like, usually I learn into the game and I'm like, man, I just hope I'm not in the lane with that one character. Like, please, man. And I look at Hydronation's draft and I'm like, this is gonna be brutal.
All right, well, we're getting into it. Vegas, we'll check back with you a little bit behind parts of the game because, you're not co-streaming right now. But when Vegas does stream, he does stream at twitch.tv/Vegas. So give that a follow if you can. But very much enjoying him here as a guest here for tonight's DFN. But Dan, here we go. And the observers, they know what they want to see. We're following the McGinnis, heading out into the left lane to kick things off. And yeah, none of these lanes looks particularly easy for Larp Lords. And, let's put it mildly.
It is not palatable, ZP. I mean, so in theory, like bulldozing down these towers and like grouping like crazy and stuff, like just going hard on the objectives. Like in theory, I can see how that could make sense, but the problem is like getting to that point because you still actually have to do the early laning phase, and I don't see how they don't get wrecked in every lane on the early laning phase.
The disrespect from Flick. Flick actually just walked to the other side of those barrels and shot Naked in the head. Like, I feel like there's an element of Hydronation here. Look, is like, you really gonna play McGinnis against us? Like,
to be fair, it is the McGinnis player. If there's gonna be a McGinnis player,
and even still, we question it. Which really, what does that say about McGinnis at the moment?
I know that was always a joke, right? That you got the McGinnis one trick that just won't even play McGinnis anymore. I know that was. I think you were talking about that before.
Yeah. Also, the update on the middle lane. You've put a Warden up against the Vindicta Bebop lane, and Warden at times isn't exactly known for being that, well, I was gonna say a precedent laner, but also known right now as a dead laner, as gets hooked in. So your middle lane is collapsing at warp speed if you're Larp Lords right now, which is not a good start to the game, to put it mildly.
Yeah, I mean, who do you decide to like put in that middle lane? Who like? I don't know. Like, I feel like it's just pain. I feel like you're just putting them in jail. at the beginning of the game.
Who do you secretly hate most on your own team? You know,
Exactly.
that might be the actual thing. Is like, yeah, maybe go there, and oh man, we're back to EU with the quick pause.
So production gave me a stat. I can't actually believe that this is actually the answer, but it actually tracks. I think McGuinness was last picked in DFN number 13, and it was actually by VP in the EU finals. But that was like DFN for that 13. That was. I mean, that's almost 2 months.
I'm gonna be honest, Dan. I really thought you were about to give us a statistic about the amount of pauses we've had today. Not timeouts, but
I mean, it's incalculable.
Every lane is just combusting at warp speed right now, Dan. This is kind of what we expected going into this game, but it is.
Ooh.
You know, last game was close for a while. This game's tough.
It's a 4K difference. It's not even 3 minutes, CP.
Also, I mean, even chat is confused. We have a first-time chatter coming in going, quote, "I just came back. Why is McGuinness on my screen?"
Oh, okay. I don't know what to say. You know what? That's my job is to say things, so I guess I better figure that out.
Appreciate and know that it's still Nakon McGuinness, so might be good for Rejuvenator steal, if nothing else. As okay, Calc just gets run down in middle. Might have bit off more than they could chew. Lord NM staying alive at all of 150 HP in turn. Also, though, 2.4K is Rocane, getting real close to the danger zone of ultimates being online for Vindicta.
Yes. This is certainly. I mean, that's one of many danger zones. This is a game which has a lot of problems. Okay, there we go. Scout's getting in there. Oh, do we have another one? Hydration is going to get out of there. Oh my god, the shotgun just don't reach far enough.
He escapes just barely, but I think you're exactly right. Is that when you run a double shotgun lane, high on denies, low on long range power. I mean, they still have decent range, but just not enough to finish it up there. Oh, first assassinate hits pay dirt. DMB out of there.
When Rocane saw this draft, he must be shaking with excitement. He's like, no one has the range to even shoot me.
Summoning crows.
It's tough.
It's like the most comfy Vindicta game of your life.
There you are.
Yeah, overall, I mean, it is going to be difficult to pressure Rocane in this game. There's also like no natural Vindicta counters on the other side. That she doesn't have to worry about a Bebop. She doesn't have to worry about a Talon. Heroes that inherently can make things difficult, or a Paradox even for that matter. Like it's either banned or they have them or they're not in the game.
True. Well, just honestly, the harassment from Hydra Nation is borderline criminal.
Good day. Be warden.
Well, you got Warden tower diving onto Bebop, gonna get it, but gives up his life, and you feed the Vindicta in an assassinate kill in turn there.
You can't even get to her. She's just too free.
I don't know if getting the kill on the Calc, I mean, aside from the meme of like, hey, we killed Calc, is necessarily worth just giving bags over the Vindicta. Like, the trade is a little questionable in my mind.
Also, the strat probably revolves around bulldozing your opponent's objectives, but really it's kind of going the opposite way right now. 2 towers down very early in favor of Hydronation, largely because they're like on track to be 10k ahead soon. And it's like by maybe the 8-minute mark, they might be 10k ahead. That is unprecedented.
It's a beatdown, is what we're seeing right now. There's no other way of describing it. It's a mole on fire. I'm not talking Rocky 4 at the moment. It says Scout, a little bit of punishment here on the Hydration. Hydration, though, should have everything needed to back off, and instead it also just puts Scout into the danger zone. A little bit of finger guns to back the other way.
It's like, oh, I can just back off into a range where they can't fire back. That's pretty high value, to be honest, if you could just continually abuse the positional game in that respect. It's kind of like...
Yeah, go ahead,
ZP. I was just going to say, it's kind of like when you're playing like Counter-Strike and you're on eco and your opponent has like a full buy of rifles and you just like cannot contest most of the ranges in the game.
Yeah, it definitely gives that vibe. Also, to go the Call of Duty route, I feel like Rocane just activated the attack helicopter right now with the level of advantage Rocane has income-wise relative to the rest of the game. Also, this is a little bit early. We normally don't like call in the analyst for quick vibes here, but we're seeing an absolute shellacking going on. Vegas, is this about what you expected from the draft?
I mean, this is like Deadlock's I Buy Power or something. I would literally do anything to be on Vindicta in this lobby. This is amazing. I just want to be on Vindicta right now in this lobby. This is like, I mean, this guy is like, the enemy team is on full eco and he's got an auto just holding mid doors on Dust. Like he's just, I mean, like what do you even do?
I mean, he's become the server admin, and
Like,
realistically speaking, Larp Lords gave him the admin password at the start of the game, is what I'm seeing here. But, you know, Dan, you're not the only one that can make CS references in here. Vegas also, yeah, grab it on in. I understood, you know, a portion of that. Not a CS player myself, but
Look out for water.
even I know about Dust, you know?
Oh yeah, we love the map Dust. Now it's definitely. I mean, dude, it's 10k. It's more than 10k difference. Not even 10 minutes. My brain cannot process this. I just don't know what to do.
I don't know. I think they're considering it a win because they killed Calc and Lane a couple times. Like I think that's Lord's angle on that. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, with how relations go and how people just genuinely enjoy trolling Calculator, even people that are friends with Calc enjoy trolling Calc. It's kind of a universal thing. You might be closer to the truth than you may think here. But Rocane, I mean, we're just playing like gutter Vindicta right now. It's like you're going to the Veil, I'll follow you, I'll shoot. Rocane's living the dream.
I just want to watch this POV. I just want to watch this Vindicta POV.
Just stay on the Vindicta POV, let's do it.
He's the cameraman for this game. He can see everything. No one can interact with this guy.
Also, Calc is like taking the bullets for Vindicta right now. It's just like, we want to go for the Vindicta. It's too hard. Just kill Calc again, if you can. This is what we're seeing right now, Dan.
You got to set small goals, CP. Small achievable goals. Okay, one step at a time.
Also, oddly enough, in terms of farm, like despite Rocane by far having vastly the highest amount of kills, a lot of them being assassinates, the rest of Hydra Nation is even more fed. Like, Rocker's sitting here on a 9k Sinclair. That is the weakest Abrams charge I've ever seen. Did Flick's health bar even move there? You really have to narrow in there to see what just happened. But, you know, this is why we talk about the idea of an Abrams needing to have, like, at least average farm in the game to be useful. That's part of it, what we just saw right there.
Absolutely. And, you know, just quick mention, you know, we are very thankful to Larp Lords for filling in last minute because we had obviously those issues. I think you talked about it at the top of the broadcast, CP.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, with I think it was Melee Creeps, right?
Yeah, Melee Creeps had things come up, you know, roster issues to sort out, so they had to pull out. Larp Lords said, you know, we can play a little bit early, you know, we won't be as good as we think we'll be next week, but, you know, let us fill in. And look, I mean, they upset BMB, so they, you know, outdid expectations, but
yeah,
right now they've run into a buzzsaw. They've run into a buzzsaw.
True.
And I mean, they might have set up the blade themselves and put themselves in its path, but that's what happened. Hey, a little bit of Warden power right now, Dan.
Love to see it. Get that last stand online. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, I want to see some McGuinness plays. However, Naked needs to get a little bit more farm perhaps for that. All right, they've got a bit of a charge action going on. Diving in. I mean, we've got a tanky roster. Let's go under the tower to get those parries. All right, get that shotgun damage.
Server admins arrived here, however, and Morden is dead. We need the ability. We need the ability to change the flight music on the fly. But concussive caution in, Rocker on the cleanup. But yeah, we need like you know. I don't know the exact name of the song because, you know, I'm not as cultured as I should be when it comes to music, but, you know, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like, that actually should be the Vindicta flight theme going on right now. Rise of the Valkyries, maybe? Is it Rise of the Valkyries?
Fly of the Valkyries, I think, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it is, yeah. It's a fly. I was like, it's fly of something.
Yeah, Flight of Valkyries. I'm not as uncultured as I thought. It came to me.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that new piece of information. in more culture than before than you thought. Okay, well, Antonin.
Also, Vegas, we talked about Rokane being server admin here a bit, but Rocker is also just shamelessly kill-stealing everything on his screen right now.
I mean, yeah, Rocker's the GOAT. Nothing much else to say, honestly. He's a humble king. Like, this guy can play anything.
You know, there's some deep lore where when he decided he needed to stop playing Deadlock for a while, he was going to pay his replacement $3,000. Vegas was there on the front lines for that, I believe.
I don't know anything about that.
I forget, but maybe that was before. That may have been before Vegas.
I'm under NDA.
No, he knows. He knows. He just can't talk about it. It's fine.
Well, Vegas, I have a question for you. How do you think Hydronation would fare against like the top 3 EU teams?
Honestly, like, it just depends if EU are in like a silly, goofy draft mood and just do the dumbest thing ever. Like, if EU at its peak and Hydronation at its peak, it'd be a really, really close match, honestly. It's just like, it honestly be like, Europe a lot of time just does like these silly weeks where they just have like the weirdest drafts. Like, VP has like some insane ideas and some of them just don't really play out. But honestly, I think that VP and Hydronation at their peaks are at very, very, very similar levels right now.
I would love to see that matchup. I think so many people would. We have to have a LAN.
I'd love to see it, just maybe not on Spain servers.
The Spain deep cut. I've always thought that instance, that's going to be like one of those Deadlock iceberg things where, by the way, look at McGinnis trying to fight desperately against the Vindicta that does not care. It's just like, I will follow you. I will put an assassinate in you. You can't do anything about this inevitability. But yeah, you know the iceberg meme where it gets deeper and deeper into a game's deep lore? Like, the bottom of that iceberg is going to be the form. The real ones will know.
I just don't even. I just need. Unless it's LAN, it doesn't count. In my opinion, I want to see. Honestly, that. I can't wait until we get that on board, and it's honestly like really impressive how good Hydronation has been with. Obviously, not the same pool of teams to play against that EU has, because obviously EU has an edge there.
Well, EU has had an edge. EU teams have been in a rougher spot, but speaking of rough spots, Rocker, Rokane, just. I mean, if you're not really paying close attention, you'd think it was the same person getting all the kills. It's names that start with R of the same length. Or they're not the same length in actuality, but the same length on the scoreboard. Like, they do some adjustment of the names. Like, it auto-adjusts the font.
Well,
Our green walker is under attack.
Walker's starting to go down here. Hydronation just really doing whatever the hell they want.
It's not as much as Hydronation as a team. Like, you got Lord NM emoting boom when Larp Lords loses walkers. Naked right now is, off on a crate adventure. I think Naked right now is probably just hoping that Hydronation goes for an early mid boss so Naked can steal the mid boss. Like, it's again, it's the old thing. It's like, I still got one more in me. That's Naked right now for the mid boss steal. That's what I'm personally holding out for this match right now, Dan, because with how one-sided it's been, I don't know if we have like a full real game of Deadlock on our hands right now. It's kind of the Hydronation Rokane Vindicta exhibition.
Signature move. But with that said, I haven't seen that signature move in the new mid-boss territory. Obviously, the mid-boss area itself is the same, but obviously the lead into it is different.
I don't even know if Naked's played McGinnis on this map.
I see the enemy.
I got a lot of action. It really does feel like Rokane just has. I mean, it's the plot armor basically. It is main character energy in its entirety here for Rokane. Just do whatever you want. Amazing.
You just look at the mini map and see Vindicta roaming around. Is like, yeah, that person's dead. Wait. They're going mid boss. Just Naked knows.
You know the golden rule on Hydronation is don't take mid boss against Naked on McGinnis. Like, that's the rule.
Okay, Naked versus the world. Does the world have hands? Where's McGinnis right now? McGinnis is dead.
It's not fair. The three of them ran up the stairs to intercept. That's not cool.
Yeah, they saw him on the map and they knew he was going 100%.
Man, they can't even give that to Naked. I mean, come on, man.
Where's like, do we not have rules for zoning where you need to let the McGinnis get like within X amount to make an attempt? Like this would be like showing up to, play basketball and then just getting like shoved into the stands before you even take the court.
Honestly, it makes me laugh how quickly they all assembled towards the Naked's direction. Like they were, like that was 100% calm. Like the entire team just flooded that stairwell where he was last seen, like so fast. Like they were so scared of that.
So true.
Respect.
The comms were just straight. I was like, do we know where McGinnis is? Yep, we have eyes on McGinnis. Converge. Destroy. Honestly, Vindicta's voice line actually reflective of the game state, saying it's over. That's all I know.
Are you playing on any teams right now, Vegas, or are you looking to do that in the future? Like, where are you at with your competitive journey in Deadlock?
I'm playing with this one variety streamer, Deathy, right now on his team. I'm trying stuff out.
Oh,
over
right,
there.
of course. I knew that.
Just called him the variety streamer.
That's like such a subtle diss, but I really enjoy that one.
No, it's quite good.
Yeah, that's solid.
Is he not a variety streamer?
I haven't seen him stream anything but Deadlock in months. I mean, maybe I'm only looking when he's on the Deadlock chat. His variety of Deadlock is, what hero do I play today? And is it a watch party day or no?
Your loyalty will be rewarded.
Man, this journey, this ride's about to be over, guys. It's about to be over. I'm not sure I'm ready.
I want to see a BO5.
We did one of those today, and it went the distance. It went the distance. I don't know if I could handle another one of those.
15 kill streak for Mr. Rokane, by the way.
Yeah, very casual.
The server admin journey for Vindicta continues.
I'm so jealous. You have no idea.
No, I know. You can actually hear it. Like, you're not even playing it up for broadcast. There's like genuine, just like, oh, they gave him like the ideal.
I don't even know if the rules in pubs allow this many tanks on one team for me to play against this in pubs. Like, I don't even know if this is allowed in the like. I don't think a matchmake this good for Vindicta is even possible in pubs.
That's actually probably true, to be honest. Yeah, because it does try to like mix I mean, it does try to mix up the comp a little bit, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to have. I think 5 of this archetype, or even 6, really. Like, I don't even think this is possible. Like, this is just destroying me. Like, because the Vindicta Crow is max health, you know. So the tankier the enemy team, the more damage you're going to be doing.
Oh god, this is so good.
Oh, boy.
So juicy.
Again, I just feel like Vindicta needs different theme music for what is going on right now. You just the perma AC 130. Ooh.
Oh yeah, he's got Freebird on Spotify. I see his listen along.
We got news on 2 seconds. 1. Congratulations, Larp Lords has lasted 20 minutes here, but it's gonna be Hydra Nation defending the throne in the most stompy game we've seen in a long time here at Deadlock Fight Night, presented by Intel. $1,000 once again head in the way of Hydra Nation, and they do it with absolute dominance. No reverse sweep or anything on that spectrum this time around, Dan.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the way. Again, thanks to Larp Lords for coming in, saving the day in lieu of melee creeps being unable to compete at the last moment. And hey, Hydra Nation, we wouldn't expect anything less. I hope that overall though we're going to get more and more improvement in the NA region. I think we have been seeing that. Larp Lords, I think the fact that they were able to beat B&B, and in that game they showed a great level of play to do so. They were actually behind in the early game and managed to kind of again keep their heads kind of above water. They lost well essentially in that first portion of the game, and then kind of activated the strategy with the comp, taking the initiative, invading the jungle, and then really started making plays. And they showed that they can beat B&B. So that in of itself is a great statement. Hydronation is just a bit of a different beast in the NA region. It's hard to play up against them. I haven't seen a single team do it consistently. Maybe one week, get melee creeps or B&B another week, but it always seems that after maybe like one close map, even Hydronation just locks you down.
Oh, beautiful.
Look at the stat line. The Vindicta Dream versus all the frontliners and a McGinnis. You know, the funnier multiverse here, Vegas, would have been if Rokane didn't have a game like this, because you have legitimately been able to throw some shade.
Oh no, Rockane's the go. I think he's the best player on that team. I'm happy for him. He deserves that.
High praise.
Yeah, Axe team.
But yeah, I mean, you look across the board. Well, I mean, this last one, I feel like the actual scoreline for Naked was 0-1, which was the Rejuvenator steal, which Naked got hunted down. Got hunted down real harshly there, Vegas.
Yeah, poor guy. I really think they should have let him have that one.
Just
I
like,
agree.
okay.
Sorry, you know, actually, Zifi, I don't have anything else to say, but I do agree with that. I think that they did Naked dirty there, and he picked McGinnis. He picked McGinnis for the means, for the entertainment, and they wouldn't even give him the rejuice still. I feel like there's something wrong about that, and they're going to get some coal in there under their Christmas tree this year.
I agree.
Also, we didn't even set up a player of the match yet, but I've told production we'll see how quickly they can adapt but it's going to be player of the match for Rokane here, just because Rokane played well in map 1 and, well, map 2. I mean, you talk about a highlight reel. We can't even show the entire highlight reel because we'd literally be replaying the entire match. It was like Vindicticam like 80% of the time, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, when you're up against a lineup that literally cannot shoot back, it's definitely, you know, it's the making of a pretty sick game. Obviously, the 7 pick in this first map. This is a more normal looking game of Deadlock, I suppose. And obviously, Rokane doing a great job. 7 has become pretty instrumental in the current meta. Obviously, with some of the changes that have happened to both the map and the hero as well. So yeah, you better make sure that your 7 player actually knows what they're doing. Rokane. Yeah, you know, it's very hard with this roster. We're so used to certain players being perceived as, like, you know, the GOATs in various ways. You know, Hydronation, Left are definitely 2 names that stand out. Flick, obviously, you know, Rocker, and you know, Rokane having such high praise from you, Vegas, is amazing. And it doesn't surprise me that with that high praise, you think that they can kind of go toe-to-toe with VP. I don't disagree that would be the case. You know, Rokane's certainly displayed a lot of awesomeness since we've seen him join this roster. So it's honestly actually too scary, this team in NA right now.
Absolutely.
You know, since you talked a little bit about you called Rokane one of the GOATs, what does Rokane do relative to other people in the same role that you think he really excels on? You know, that might not even be picked up by people at home just watching the snipe after snipe hit here. But, you know, a more normal game that's more well balanced. Like, what makes Rokane good?
I think what makes Rokane good is that, like, compared to like other DPS players, I think he has really good comms and all, like, just really good teammates. Like, he's really receptive to criticism and has really good, like, in-game communication. That, like, I feel like playing with Rokane, like, regardless of what DPS hero he's on, you can expect, like, a really solid performance and really good comms. Like, he's just really great to work with, and honestly, I'm happy for him, honestly.
Yeah, the comms, that's definitely something that I think is one of the things that goes missing with a lot of DPS-oriented players in every type of game. It doesn't matter what type of game it is. It seems like there's a correlation there between I do damage but can't talk. So it's good to hear that, and it does make sense that it makes Rokane a little bit of an outlier in terms of being able to kind of provide both the team value with the comms, but also the actual pure DPS intelligence and value too. So that's awesome to hear.
Well, we are coming to the end of our show here tonight, but just to recap all the action happened today, the winners and losers. We'll take you back to the beginning. We started with our EU special best of 5. VP wasn't able to play this week. VP the org had stuff going on org-wide. So the spot was vacated, and we figured it was time to do a best of 5, which went the distance and then some. One win will be our champion for next week, defending against VP. Or our VP and the team they're playing it. So whoever wins that will be up against one win. So VP will be making their run back next week. This week, Larp Lords surprising B&B, sending them back to the drawing board. But they go up against Hydra Nation and they run into inevitability, especially in the second map. But overall, Dan, pretty fun day of Deadlock.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the EU matches in particular, the evolution from map to map was definitely a standout for me because it just made it's what I really love about Deadlock in that there's the opportunity cost decisions around the draft are super interesting because it's not often super clear, and there's enough sort of interpretation stylistically and hero pool wise for different teams where there's all these interesting decisions in a draft. And I feel like with a lot of games that I've watched with like drafts, it doesn't captivate me as much in this way. So seeing that kind of come out so much in the EU best of 5 was super fun for me.
Well, Vegas, we are about to sign off for the night, but of course, really appreciate you having on as a special guest appearance. Anything you want to say, get out there before we head off for the night? Any self promos, team promos? Floor is yours.
Honestly, just like ban all Bebop players. That's all I gotta say, honestly.
Honestly, simple, effective. You love it. But everyone, this has been Deadlock Fight Night. This is number 19 presented by Intel. Next week will be number 20. Thank you again to all the players, all the fans for tuning in week after week. We could not do it without you. But this is the end of our broadcast tonight, and we'll see you next time.